Hey, how's it going? This is J-Moon. Welcome to the YouTube channel. This video and future videos are highly inspired by creators like Baby Jamie and Vembo, so shout out to those guys. Today we're just going to be going over a few posts from the subreddit AmIOverreacting while you see some of my hytale gameplay in the background. So with that being said, let's jump right into the first post. For our first story we have, Am I overreacting? My girlfriend is pretending to be autistic and it's driving me nuts. Throwaway account, a couple months ago, my 32 male, long-term girlfriend, 32 female, watched a TikTok about 5 signs you might be autistic, or something like that, and she's now utterly convinced she's on the spectrum. Her reasons? She always felt she was different. She never had many good friends, only a trusted few. She routinely does things like cleaning. She always had very specific hobbies like animals and books. At first I thought she was joking, but soon she started beginning sentences with, as an autistic person, on a daily basis. Whenever she messes something up, she now says, oh, that's because of my autism. I don't always know when I do something wrong. She started sharing Instagram reels about how hard it is to not be like other people. She never had any problems reading faces, social cues, or socializing in general. She's a very open and extroverted person. She enjoys clubbing and concerts much more than me. Now, whenever we go out and meet new people, she makes sure to tell them she's autistic right away, and it's insanely embarrassing to watch them slowly realize she's talking out of her ass. Yesterday at a house party, a couple we just met came up to me and started asking questions about living with an autistic person. That made me snap, and I straight up told them she's not. When we returned home, I told my girlfriend to either get an official diagnosis or stop telling everyone about her autism like it's a fun personality quirk, because it's embarrassing and frankly insulting to people with actual autism. She started crying, told me she doesn't need a diagnosis because she just knows, sarcastically thanked me for my support, and went to bed. Today she got up and went to work without saying a word. Am I overreacting? Am I missing something here? She never acted like this before. She's usually a rational, mature woman. If she gets diagnosed, I'll apologize of course, but am I wrong to refuse to participate in something I think is either a lie or a delusion? Alright, so first of all, this guy is definitely not overreacting to this situation. His girlfriend sounds extremely annoying to be around. So her reasons for self-diagnosing from a TikTok video she saw is that she always felt she was different, never had many friends, only a trusted few, routinely does things like cleaning. Oh, that's so autism of you. Had very specific hobbies like animals and books. Oh my gosh, the autism is flowing through you. You can't get more general than animals and books. Like what? That's an insane thing to say and be serious about, especially at the ripe age of 32. Like that is definitely something my generation, Gen Z, is guilty of. It's almost a trend at this point. It for sure is a trend. Self-diagnosing yourself off of short form content, specifically on TikTok, I think. I don't think 32 is Gen Z. I could be wrong, but it feels way too old to be doing something like that. Like, that's teenager activities. And this 32-year-old guy is having to deal with this. Like, oh, especially at that age, you're trying to settle down, get married, maybe start a family. And your girlfriend pulls something like this, and you're like, come on, dude. Why? What are you doing? Especially when they're trying to go out and socialize, and that's how she introduces herself. As, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I have autism. Like, she just wants special treatment for no reason. Like, she watched a 30-second video, was like, huh, I am slightly introverted. I only have a couple friends. I like animals. I like books. I must have autism. I have to tell everyone about this. Like, no. That's insanely embarrassing for the boyfriend. That's crazy. Honestly, if she doesn't snap out of this delusion soon, I would think about looking for some other options. That isn't going around telling everyone she has autism just because she's a little quirky girl that likes her books and animals. No one else does, just because of her and her autism. But yeah, no, that's crazy. Definitely not overreacting. Let's go on to the next one. For the next post, we have, am I overreacting, or did my friend cross a line by saying this in front of my date? I was at a dinner party with friends, about 9 people total, and I brought a guy I've been casually dating for a few weeks. We're not official yet. While I was talking, one friend suddenly interrupted and said, Amy, you sound like a dude. Everyone went quiet and looked at me. I was shocked and did not understand what she meant, so I said, "Hun, what? What do you mean?" And she laughed and said my voice sounds like a guy's. Then she turned to the guy I'm dating and asked, "Don't you think so? When Amy talks to you, doesn't she sound like a dude?" Before I could even respond, the guy I'm dating said, "No, not at all. Her voice is sweet." Another friend also jumped in and said, "Amy is a soft-spoken person. Her voice is not deep." That should have been the end of it, but instead she laughed and said, "Aw, Amy, you got nervous. Your voice isn't that bad." That comment really got under my skin. I wanted to stay quiet because it felt like she was pushing for a reaction and trying to embarrass me in front of everyone. But I replied, "Maybe it sounds that way to you because my voice is a bit similar to your mom's." After that, she went silent. Dinner ended shortly after, and we went home. Now I'm replaying it in my head and wondering if I overreacted or crossed a line with my response. Classic your mom joke to just hammer a nail into the coffin. There's literally no coming back from that. But, no, definitely not overreacting. You literally just stood up for yourself. You had a killer comeback, put her in her place. An absolute narcissist at that, from what it seems like. Somebody that is definitely not your friend and should most likely not be in the friend group. Or either you should not be in the friend group if your other friends are putting up with that all the time. And think it's okay, because that's crazy. That's not something you do to a quote-unquote friend. You don't single them out in front of a group of 9 and belittle them, make them feel dumb, small, stupid. Especially in front of a date. Somebody that you're trying to impress, somebody that you're trying to warm up to a group of people that are supposed to be your friends, and try and just have a good impression. And that is not how you do it, is by hanging around a complete mean girl like that. That is the opposite of what you want to do. But yeah, just, Amy, you got nervous. Your voice isn't that bad. Like at that point, that's when you just stand up on the table and chuck your dinner roll at her face. I don't know, something. Chuck your fork into her forehead. What you did was perfect. The classic your mom joke. There's no coming back. Once that card is dealt, there's no taking it back. You put her in her place forever. Forever silenced. Good on you. You stood up for yourself. There's nothing more you could have done there. Good job. On to the next. For this post, we have, "Am I overreacting? My boyfriend secretly trolls women online and it gave me the biggest ick. New account because I don't use Reddit and this is my first time posting. I, 25 female, have been with my boyfriend, 26 male, for 3 years and we live together. Overall, he's always been sweet, funny, and kind. We argue sometimes, but nothing serious. He always told me he doesn't really use social media, just Snapchat. Or so I thought. Last night we were smoking and hanging out when he went to the gas station. While he was gone, I kept hearing a weird vibration/dinging noise. Eventually, I realized it was coming from under our dresser. I pulled out an iPad I had never seen before. It was covered in stickers from his video games, and the wallpaper was a picture of our dog, so it was clearly his. I had no idea he even owned an iPad. Once I got in, I saw non-stop notifications from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, literally everything. All the accounts were anonymous/spam looking, but they were all tied to his email. I started opening the notifications and I was honestly disgusted. He was commenting on women's bodies, saying they needed more makeup, body shaming them, leaving hateful comments on YouTube, and trolling people on Reddit with fake cringe stories. On Twitter and Instagram, he was constantly insulting people for no reason, but nothing prepared me for what I found next. I like to game and live stream with my friends a few times a week just for fun. For the past year, there has been this one account that always joins our stream and says the most racist and vile things, telling us we need more makeup, should dress sexier, insulting our looks, and sending us awful messages about how nobody would want to watch us looking like that. It got so bad when we blocked the account, they would just make new ones. We eventually stopped streaming 6 months ago because of it. I almost filed a police report at one point. I realized last night it was my boyfriend. He has been trolling me and my friends the entire time. This wasn't just popping in and leaving. He would stay the entire live stream, saying horrible personal things about us. I genuinely don't understand why someone would do this to their girlfriend. I thought our relationship was good. I haven't told him yet. I've been at my friend's house all day because I can't even look at him without feeling sick. Am I overreacting if I break up with him over this? My friend thinks filing a restraining order is over the top and can ruin his career. Honestly, the fact that you even have to ask Reddit that if you should break up with him over this is crazy. That should just be automatic. As soon as you saw that, before he even got back from the gas station, all of his things should have been packed up in a suitcase. You could have been moving the speed of the Flash, hyper speed, pack all of his stuff up, toss it out the front window, the back window, wherever, toss it in the dumpster, hit him on the head with it, toss it out the window and when he's walking back. I don't know. Yeah, you shouldn't even acknowledge his existence after something like that. That's absolutely insane. Dude is literally a cyberbullying supervillain for a year, harassing you and your friends on a live stream and other women, just random other women on the internet. That is that's crazy. I don't know how you could get away with that. Like, how does he find the time to do that? That's wild. But no, definitely not an overreaction to break up with him over this. That shouldn't even be a question. A restraining order, I wouldn't say it's over the top. You're worried if it ruins his career, or your friend is worried that it might ruin his career. Okay. And honestly, from what it sounds like, it didn't seem like you were genuinely trying to become like a full-time streamer or something. So I wouldn't say he ruined your career. But if that was your main focus, like if you were trying to become a streamer and that happened, he literally ruined your career. So I don't think it's outlandish to do the same for him. Yeah, like I said, this guy is literally a supervillain. I don't think he deserves whatever kind of high-paying, well-known job he has. Doesn't seem like a luxury he should have. So yeah, honestly, restraining order seems valid in my opinion. And if it ruins his career, it ruins his career. That's his problem. That's the bed he made, was choosing for a year to go online on literally every social media platform and just harass and bully women online for literally no reason. Yeah, a million thousand trillion% break up with him. Restraining order if you feel like it's necessary after you break the news to him. That's a big factor actually. Like once you bring it up to him, depending how he reacts will help you decide if you need a restraining order or not. But from what it seems like, he's very good at hiding who he truly is, so you're most likely going to see some side of him you've never seen in real life, but you got a glimpse of once you've found his secret iPad. Like that's who he truly is, and he was hiding it all along, which is really scary that you could be dating someone, living with them, share a dog with them, and they just have this whole double life where they're the complete opposite of what you think they are. It's a scary world we live in. No, not overreacting. Shouldn't have even been a question. On to the next. For this post we have, am I overreacting for getting upset by, quote unquote, she's like a sister to me? Me and my boyfriend have been dating for about 4 years now and live together also. I had always known he had a girl best friend slightly before we started dating. I've met this girl a few times, but not like we got really close, as she was more extroverted and I'm more introverted. A few months ago, she had also moved, so my boyfriend and her didn't hang out much. She visited our town and this whole thing happened, which is a whole other story. But long story short, he went on a trip with her and her family for 2 days without me, which I was really upset about, and found out they had shared a room and bed because there was no other option. I found out through a mutual friend that they both tend to have less physical boundaries, example, laying in the same hammock together or making suggestive comments, at least from my POV. I was really upset about it, and we had a couple hour-long conversation about it where he eventually said he'd talked to her about it, that his girlfriend is uncomfortable with the friendship, and cut her off. If he did or didn't do it, I'm not sure, because I checked and he said he didn't yet. I found out about everything about a month ago, but it still really hurts and bothers me almost daily. Am I overreacting? Because for a long time I feel like I was, but I don't know. I do have guy friends also, but there's certain things I just wouldn't do with them. I guess the actions are not really sexual, but it's just, I don't know. It feels a bit intimate to me, and I still have a really hard time getting over it as they've been friends for the entire duration of our relationship. So who knows what else happened. But do you feel like these actions are kind of normal? If I think about it, I would do those stuff too with my girlfriends, but certainly not with my guy friends. Yeah, I would say not overreacting, especially when it comes down to the boundary that you tried setting up with him, saying that you felt uncomfortable with the friendship they had, and he seemingly chose to ignore it, saying he didn't do it yet, and most likely will probably never talk to her about it. It seems like he values his friendship that he's had longer than your relationship more than the relationship you're in, which, I mean, I don't know, it's a tough one. It's a very polarizing subject. Girl best friends for guys or guy best friends for girls. Yeah, I'm honestly not really sure where I stand on it because I was about to say thankfully never experienced something like that. So I think by the fact, I think just from the fact of me saying thankfully implies that I wouldn't want to experience something like that. So yeah, I would say that the average person would not want their partner or significant other to have a best friend of the opposite gender because you really never know what their true intentions are. Like, yeah, you could be friends for 4 years with a guy and then just on a random Tuesday, he'll show up and confess your feelings for you. I feel like I've seen multiple stories about stuff like that. But then again, I don't know. I'm sure there are successful friendships like that where it's two very, like, yeah, you have to have two very mature people that are secure in themselves and know exactly what they want, and that's very hard to come by nowadays, I think. So that's why a lot of instances of something like that happening are so uncommon, but it's not impossible, I don't think. I think for this specific friendship and relationship, though, it is not good for you, for the person writing this post. You tried setting a boundary, he chose to ignore it. If that's something you're not interested in, then just look elsewhere. There's, as they say, plenty of fish in the sea, you know? It's very true. There's a lot out there. And from the way you wrote some of these sentences and stuff, I can tell probably pretty young. I don't know. You shouldn't feel like you're stuck with this guy that he's been committed to a different girl than you longer than you've been together. Yeah, so not overreacting. Case closed on that one. For this post, we have, am I overreacting? Apparently, I'm the stinky one at work. OMG, I can't believe I'm making this post, but I need some insight. Basically, after work, my coworker, who I've gotten along with so far, pulled me aside to have a private conversation. They told me I have a very offensive and strong, sweaty BO smell, and wanted to be the one to tell me as to not risk management being the ones to talk to me about it, and me potentially losing my job over my smell. Apparently, this is a daily occurrence. I always smell really bad. Brutal. To be honest, I'm shocked as I have what I would consider to be very good hygiene. I shower at least once a day, twice if I've sweat a good amount. I wash all over with good quality soap. I wash my clothes, and if I wear the same thing twice before washing, I do a smell test always. We have to wear certain clothes for work, so yes, sometimes I have to rewear stuff. I wear deodorant always, perfume too, as it is an interest of mine, and I actually thought that was what they were going to bring up at first. I take pride in caring for my body and being clean. I haven't been told I smell bad by anyone else except for my cousin, who's overall a mean and jealous person, which was once when I was younger. And ever since, it has been a deep insecurity of mine, and I've tried to maintain the best possible hygiene. During the convo, I maintained my composure, admitted I'm embarrassed, but was also like, okay, I'll try to not be stinky and maybe see a doctor. And the coworker literally said that if they were me, they would see a doctor. Then when we left the office, they said, I'm gonna leave this door open, haha. As if the room needed to be aired out after I was confined in there. That really sent me for a loop. So after this happened, I felt absolutely horrible and ashamed as it was so unexpected. I bawled my eyes out and asked my boyfriend and parents if I smelled bad and begged them to be honest, and they all vehemently, alright, I'm gonna be honest, I've never heard that word in my life, all vehemently said no, I don't smell, and they were as shocked as I am. They wondered if maybe the coworker has something wrong with their nose or maybe just even straight up lying. Honestly, I'm kinda spiraling. wondering if I and those close to me are just nose blind and I actually do have an extremely offensive and off-putting body odor. The coworker said it was a daily occurrence. It's humiliating too because I've read so many posts on here of people wondering if they should tell their stinky coworker that their BO is making everyone nauseous. Turns out I am that coworker. Am I overreacting? Like, this has seriously took away every shred of confidence I had and made me question everything. And I don't want to go back to work. My initial reaction is definitely that you're not overreacting. That is quite a horrible thing for someone to bring up to you, especially when you and the people closest to you, like your family and boyfriend, say that you don't smell. It sounds like, from the information you've given, you obviously have good personal hygiene. So I don't know, it doesn't really sound like you would be a smelly person. And especially the way that the coworker made a joke about leaving the door open to air the room out from your stankiness is kind of an indicator that the coworker just has some sort of personal vendetta against you, especially if she's the only one that's brought it up to you. And that could be for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe she just doesn't like you. Maybe she thinks you're prettier than her. Maybe you get along with your other coworkers better than she does and she doesn't like you for it. Whatever it may be, it definitely seems like she's doing some nefariousness with making you feel insecure about your non-existent BO. Or maybe it's just a very minor smell and she does have a super sensitive nose or something, and it's being amplified as your particles pass through her nostril hairs. Maybe it sends a different signal to her brain than everyone else. I don't know. I'm not a nose doctor or scientist, so. But thankfully there is an update so we can see a continuation of this. So let's read that. The update reads, after my shift today, I've come to the tentative conclusion that I get musty at the end of my shifts due to my stress sweat and my perfume mixing poorly with that. But the coworker blew it way out of proportion because it's the only thing they have over me and wanted to knock me down because I get along really well with everyone at work and customers like me. Yep, there it is. They're embarrassed to the point that they cannot face me. My other coworkers were very worried about me today, and I was really hesitant to tell anyone what happened because I don't want to start drama. I just want to do my job and go home. I talked to a few people after work and they were shocked and hurt for me that I was treated like this. They think I could smell a little sweaty, but nothing out of the ordinary or bad enough to not want to be near me. Just normal sweat like anyone has after a long day. My boyfriend, parents, best friend, and his BF all say I basically never smell, but I'm not going to treat that like it's 100% true just to be on the safe side. I think I just get a certain odor at work from stress, heat changes, body chemistry, perfume, and gross smells from stuff I touch at work that's just a bad mix and gives me a bad odor towards the end of the day, which is 9 to 10 hour shifts being on my feet all day. I do not sit unless I'm on the toilet, LMAO. Honestly, I can live with that, especially knowing the people who care about me at work are not bothered by my smell. At the end, there's a line that reads, also, an anonymous person somehow spilled dirty mop water on my nice coat and bag today. Wonder who, LMAO. Yeah, so it was literally just a horrible coworker, someone that doesn't like you, was jealous of you. Wanted to make you feel smellier than you really are, which is one of the worst things you could do to someone, is stankify them, put stank on their name. But from the description of her job, it definitely sounds like she works at a restaurant, which is something I do part-time. I've worked at a restaurant for over 3 years now, and it definitely seems like that is where she's at, and it is totally understandable to be a little bit smelly at the end of a 9 to 10 hour shift where you're on your feet the entire time. Like, that's just to be expected. And that's for sure something the coworker knows and was just trying to make her feel bad about herself. So there we have it. It's kind of nice to have some closure on everything. At least the writer of this post is a little bit self-aware too. Like, they recognize that, yeah, I am a little smelly, but it's not nearly as bad as what this person was saying. And seems like they told the other coworkers about it, and everyone knows that she is a lying scumbag who's putting stank on someone's name who doesn't deserve it. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I really appreciate you watching if you made it this far. And let me know in the comments if there's any different sort of subreddit or a topic of story you'd want me to go through next time. Or if there's any other game you'd want me to play in the background, because I've been playing games my whole life. I play pretty much everything, so let me know. Thank you again, and I'll catch you in the next one.